Want to start saving money and energy at home? Eversource, proud sponsor of Energize Connecticut, is here to help with our in-home energy service. For just $50, our certified technicians will give you a unique home energy score and conduct on-the-spot services. Plus, you'll get rebates and incentives on efficiency upgrades, like improved insulation to stay comfortable and save money all year round. So don't wait. Go to eversource.com to get started today. Paid for by a charge on customer energy bills.
This is MuggleCast, episode 12 for October 24th, 2005. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Sims.
I'm Kevin Steck.
I'm Laura Thompson.
And I'm Cristin Atkins.
Cristin Atkins, welcome to your first MuggleCast appearance. You're here because you won the Ways to Kill Voldemort Contest. You got first place, and our promise was that the first place winner would be able to come on to the show. So welcome.
Thank you. I even had to email Eric back because he didn't mention it when I first spoke with him.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's kind of forgetful like that.
I said I'd hold him to it because that's what y'all said to do.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Eric. But before we get to anything else, first let's go to Micah for the past week's top stories in the Harry Potter world.
Alright, Andrew, glad to see you recovered after what happened at the end of last week's episode. Imelda Staunton appeared Wednesday on ITV's This Morning show and confirmed that she will play the part of Professor Dolores Umbridge in Order of the Phoenix. She has yet to receive a script, but said she will begin work on the film early next year. Keeping with the movie news, it was reported on Tuesday that from November 18th through the 20th, James and Oliver Phelps, the actors who portray Fred and George Weasley, will be at the Hollywood Boulevard Theater in Woodridge, Illinois, for a meet and greet. They will be there to sign autographs and speak with fans throughout the day. And Collector Mania GMEX kicks off in Manchester, England in February 2006. The lineup promises to be massive as both the actors who play Cedric Diggory and Victor Crumb will be on hand. Newsround reports that the fourth Harry Potter movie has been given a 12A rating by the British Board of Film Classification. According to a BBFC spokeswoman, examiners decided that the 12A was the most suitable category, as younger or more sensitive viewers could be frightened by some of the more intense scenes. For those of you wondering, 12A would be roughly the same as the PG-13 rating, which Goblet of Fire received here in the US. Of course, there are plenty of movie photos, scans, banners, clips, and a new Goblet of Fire TV spot available for download on MuggleNet's main page. And thanks to Extra, there's a special behind-the-scenes look and interview with Dan Radcliffe on the upcoming film. Plus, both HarryPotter.com and the official UK Harry Potter website have been updated. Finally, we end with Rocco, the Brazilian Harry Potter publisher, who has revealed the title of the sixth book, which translates as Harry Potter and the Enigma of the Prince. J.K. Rowling was presented with a number of titles and chose this one herself. The book is due out on November 26th. That's all the news from our news center in New York for this October 23rd, 2005 edition of MuggleCast. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Micah. Is he not there?
I don't think so.
I don't think he is.
No. Okay.
I think he's locked up in the transcript dungeon this time.
I don't want him to surprise me ever again.
Yeah, he had fun with that last transcript.
Yes, he did. So before we move on to anything else, first, Cristin, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am currently a substitute teacher at Hoffman Lane Elementary School, and I have substituted from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, and I'm fixing to start a short-term position in computers for kindergarten through 6th grade. So I'm really excited.
That's great. And you're really into Harry Potter, too?
Yes, I first started reading it because I had a younger cousin. He's about 8 years younger than me, and he didn't have anyone who would read it with him, and he got a game for Christmas. So I started reading it so I could play the game with him, and I really enjoyed it. And then I went out and got one of those Wizarding World Press books and started reading through it and figured out that it's a lot more than just a kid's book. She goes into such detail that you can really read it tons of times and still find something interesting and new.
Yeah, that's so true. So thanks for coming on today, and we're sure you'll do a great job. Now let's move on to a couple of announcements. First, you might notice that Ben once again isn't with us this week.
Yeah.
Oh,
What a shame.
I'm so disappointed.
So,
Yeah.
I guess we... Okay, so,
So on to other
he's
things,
not here. And then Eric was also going to be here this week, but he had some recording difficulties.
He may still join us. He may get in,
But no guarantees.
yes.
Don't put your hopes up.
I also do want to say something. I got an email from someone, Brian, asking us permission to use the podcast in his English class.
No.
No? I didn't think
No.
so. I thought it would be,
No.
unacceptable.
That's so mean. You should do anything for
No way.
teaching. Come on.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Sure.
So Brian...
Oh, I shouldn't say that in front of a teacher, should I?
No.
Trust me, we've heard it all before.
So, Brian Carr, yes, you have our permission. Have fun. And Andrew, you take
What grade
it.
does he teach?
He teaches 8th grade language arts.
Nice.
Yeah. Must be
And
fun.
and what is he going to use our thing for?
He doesn't say. He sent in a voice clip, but asking permission, but I wasn't able to open it. So
Oh.
Maybe
Yeah.
illusions. That's real popular.
he does have a class website, though. He did mention that.
Let's not plug it because I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to
crash.
kill the
Yeah.
school website. That would be bad.
Maybe say it one time really, really fast so only a few people can go.
I don't think so. I'll just because they'll slow our voices down. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, that's great. Sure. Anyone can use our podcast, even you, Cristin.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Although, yeah, anytime. So moving on, we also have a New York City update.
Yes, we
Actually,
do.
actually, we really don't.
Is it official
Oh,
yet?
yes, we do.
Is it official yet that we've moved?
Here's something official. Kevin bought his train ticket.
Yes, I did.
Whatever you bought.
I did.
So we know you're going.
Yes, at the cost of what, $53.
Cool.
Was not bad at all.
Better than gas.
Yeah.
$53.
Yeah, it's
You
cheap.
I can take a train for $15.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot, Andrew. Make me feel better about myself,
You
Mr.
can
New
take a
iPod
plane
over
for like
there.
$7.50.
Well, I was trying to get Andrew to buy my plane ticket, but he wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
He said
God,
flying
Andrew,
from Connecticut
that's
to
so
New York.
You're so cheap.
No
he
comment.
is.
God.
I mean,
Also, here's the real announcement. No, Kevin, nobody cares that you're coming down. I mean, give me a break.
Oh, that was
Sorry.
mean. That was mean. Sure they care.
No, nobody
I'm
would care
sorry.
if I was coming.
Okay,
They probably
but
would
also
care
here's-
if you were
but
coming.
but see, the thing is, I'm bigger than you, Andrew, and I'm going to be seeing you live in New York.
Exactly.
But whether the fans will be
Ooh.
seeing you after I see you is the question. So the
You
real
talk like
announcement.
I'm afraid.
which
The real announcement
you should
is
be
that
afraid.
Barnes & Noble, the bookstore that will be hosting us while we're up there. Originally, we were at whatever bookstore
22nd
we were
Street.
at.
It
22nd
was
Street.
what, Broadway and 22nd.
Broadway
I
and 20.
think?
Yeah. But however, Barnes & Noble contacted us the other day and told us, we're not going to be able to hold everyone. So, therefore,
Really?
yes, therefore,
No surprise to us.
we are moving everyone to my house. No, just kidding. We're going to move
Nice.
Because
to
we're
a
made of
bigger
money.
Barnes & Noble. Yeah. We've been moved to a bigger Barnes & Noble at 14th Street, Union Square, still in New York City. A few extra blocks, but that's okay. Everyone's taking a cab anyway. It's going to be at a bigger Barnes & Noble. We're going to be able to hold like double or triple the amount of people. And we're really happy about this. You know it's a bad sign when Barnes & Noble calls you and says, we have to kick you out and move you into a bigger one of our stores.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I guess so.
and Eric is back, so I'm going to invite him in now.
Cross your fingers, everyone.
This show was going so well.
So well. Okay. Eric,
Yes,
are you with us?
I am fine.
Great.
And fine.
Yay!
We were just telling everyone about how Barnes & Noble had to move us because we had too many people coming.
No kidding.
Yeah. So.
We kid you not.
Where are we now?
So, once again, oh, well, I'm glad you asked. Once again, our new place is at 14th Street, Union Square in New York City. There's going to be lots more room. We're going to be able to run our voices through the entire store to annoy all the people who are there for actual work. And it's just going to be a great time. And don't forget, you can always RSVP by emailing hplive@gmail.com. However, that does not guarantee you a spot at the show. It just gives us an idea of how many people are coming.
And hopefully with this larger venue, we can actually hold quite a bit more of you.
It's going to be about
That makes
300 to 400 we can hold now.
Wow.
But then there's plenty of standing room, too.
That's good.
So,
Neat.
yeah, it's nothing. I talk to 70,000 a week.
Oh, yeah, right.
So moving on, also, we'd like to cheaply and shamelessly remind you to vote for us at podcastalley.com and rate, review, and tag over at Yahoo Podcasts.
And also, we have to remind you to not vote for the Leaky Cauldron. You know, their podcast is just horrible. They shouldn't be on the air. And so don't even vote for them, please.
Aren't they going to be with you in New York?
The reason Kevin brings this up is because they thought they were all cool that they could use my voice to promote their show by taking my shameless plea for votes last week and turning it into their own. And actually, I have to admit, I do sound a lot better on Pottercast. My voice is a lot more, just a lot better.
Hey now, I feel
So,
insulted.
You go join
vote.
Pottercast then, Andrew.
I think
yeah,
I
fine,
But who will be
traitor.
our editor?
will. Kevin.
Yeah, I can do the editing.
Yeah. Okay. Balance that.
But I haven't
And
let
then
Andrew
also-
know yet, so I don't have to do any.
It wouldn't be another MuggleCast if we didn't have another contest, and this one is for all of you LEGO fans. You might remember that a few shows ago, I sat down with Joe Fulton of MillionairePlayboy.com where we discussed the Harry Potter LEGO sets, and now we have a big contest announcement, so take a listen. Alright, we're joined once again by Joe Fulton of MillionairePlayboy.com. He made an appearance on the show a couple episodes ago where you gave us a sneak peek and a very good review about the new Harry Potter Lego sets.
That's right. And hello again to everybody in the Harry Potter world. Yeah, we got such a great response from your listeners about the reviews and even about the Lego sets that I was contacted by Lego, who asked, can you guys do some kind of giveaway for the Lego sets for the Goblet of Fire sets? So that's why I'm back on the show today.
Yeah, so we have a big contest announcement. And this is good timing because a lot of people lately have been asking for a new contest. So this works out good. Now, what is the contest all about, Joe?
All right, the contest is the Harry Potter Lego Custom Contest, brought to you by MillionairePlayboy.com and MuggleNet.com. Here's what you're going to have to do. We want you to recreate and photograph a scene from Book 6 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince using Legos. And the most creative person will win 2 different Lego sets, the Graveyard set and Harry and the Horntail.
Excellent. Now, we have some rules.
You're going to be able to see all the information if you go to MillionairePlayboy.com and look right there in the center under feature articles, and you will see a link to the page. But here are the rules. First, you can enter as many entries as you like. We want people to be creative. So if you have a bunch of different ideas, put them together and send them. Second, The photo must be a JPEG submitted by email to my email address, which is ldp@millionaireplayboy.com, along with the title of your picture, a description of the scene, and your name. Now, again, the email address is on that page, so you don't have to sit and memorize it. But please send me a little bit of a description of the scene, because I may not know exactly what the photograph is supposed to represent. Third, you must use Lego bricks, minifigures, or anything from Lego in the design to qualify for entry. So something of Lego must be present, which brings me to rule number 4, which is you're allowed to use other items as long as you use something from Legos in the design. Fifth, the scene must be specifically from Book 6. Don't try to give me a Goblet of Fire set or, even doing from Book 5. It must be from Book 6. All the entries are due by November 4th. If you don't get them in before that, you can't be counted. The winner will be announced right here on the MuggleNet Podcast, episode 15, which debuts November 13th.
And which is also our live podcast.
Yep.
So we'll be doing it in front of a live audience.
Yep.
Maybe you'll be there. Maybe the winner will be there.
No, hopefully.
Cool.
I mean, but that it'll be I think it's a great opportunity for creative people, Harry Potter fans, to really give us something great, and they can win some great Lego prizes.
All right, thanks, Joe. So once again, the deadline is November 4th. The winners will be announced the weekend of the Goblet of Fire domestic premiere, which will be probably November 13th. Thanks for joining us, Joe, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Oh, thanks for having me. And if you have any questions or anything, go to millionaireplayboy.com. And I will assume that MuggleNet will probably also have a link to the article as well.
Yes, and the email address.
Yep.
So all you have to do is go to our show notes page, and we'll have the email address there.
Great. Well, good luck to everyone.
Now, before we do anything else, let's get to our regular segments that really make this show shine each and every week. Taking the world by storm, Spy on Sparts. This week, Emerson Sparts was at home.
Oh, where is he?
Woohoo!
That's all I have to say because
This section.
he's not online. So tune in this week for another exciting edition of Spy on Sparts. I have a feeling like they're getting worse and worse
They
each
are
week.
getting less exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Here I have a Spy on Sports clue, or a tidbit thing. Everyone turn their mics up. I can't say this too loud because I don't want many people to hear it. Emerson Sparts will be doing a podcast soon. There's my phone.
And you were lecturing me to turn mine off.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hurry up. We don't have that much time. Hurry.
Andrew, you're the reason
No
we're
idea who that
lagging,
is.
man. You and your
I
cell
know.
phone
Sorry.
thing.
Well, I'm leaving anyway. So for this week's Andrew's Listener Challenge, I'm still going to pose the same challenge to you, which is dress up as one of us or a Harry Potter character for Halloween. Extra points as you dress up, if you dress up as one of us, because anyone can dress up as a Harry Potter character. But if you dress up as one of us, nobody is going to know who you are. So you gotta really have some
And that's the
some
fun.
strength.
Actually, one girl who emailed me said she was going to wear a sign that says, "I'm Laura Thompson from MuggleCast."
Oh, jeez.
I thought
That's
that was
dangerous.
brilliant.
Excellent. We have another extended remix for you this week. It's a little bit longer, so we'll only air one. And once again, you can send all of your challenge entries to challenge@staff.mugglenet.com. Now let's get on to the main topic of the week. Continuing our regular series on a specific Harry Potter character, because you know what, guys, there's so many characters that if we just do one every show, we'll be good for about 3 years. So this is a safe topic.
It
But
is.
of course, we will be
Yeah.
switching it up. But for
And immediately after that, we will be so screwed.
yeah, so we will be doing this. We will be doing quite a few of these, and I think these are turning out really good because it gives everyone a great look at one specific character, and we could just focus on one steady topic. So this week's character is Sirius Black.
Are you
That is
serious?
right.
You know what, Kevin? That was worse than my Avada
Hey,
Kedavra joke.
I try.
No, Laura, your Avada Kedavra joke is taking the world by storm. Mark my words.
I saw that. I saw that. People in the comments were quite amused by that.
Yeah, so let's get on to the main topic. Do you think Sirius is dead?
Yeah, I really do.
I do too.
Yeah.
He's a goner.
I held out hope, but then after this last book, I've kind of let that fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had that interview with J.K. Rowling
Right.
saying that she was crying over the death.
Yeah, in the kitchen and Neil.
Yeah, and I don't think that she would be crying if he was still alive. You know, she doesn't seem like the author to kill someone off and not mean it.
Yeah, and didn't
like,
she say he
mislead
was
the fans?
Yeah.
Exactly, and same thing goes for like Dumbledore. I mean, I don't think Sirius or Dumbledore are still alive.
Yeah, same.
But
But once again, I mean, I can't really emphasize it enough. Does that mean that they're gone? Even though they're dead, they don't have to be gone. We might see them again, but I think as far as
Well, no, it's a constant.
I think the most we'll see is like a tidbit left behind by them, but not anything larger than that. Although I do feel like there's going to be something very personal for Harry to discover that Sirius or Dumbledore left behind for him.
I have to agree with you on
I also
that.
think it's more of a symbolic thing, like what Dumbledore was saying, that he would never truly be gone as long as those at Hogwarts were still faithful to him. So I think that that's how characters like Sirius and Dumbledore do live on in a way in the series, is because people that they left behind still love them and care about them, and
well, those who love never those we love never truly leave us.
Exactly.
And it affects the way they behave too, because like with Harry, thinking back about what's happened to Sirius and what's happened to Dumbledore, it's just going to give him more fire to go on. And
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I mean, she always mentions Sirius throughout the books, even though he's gone.
Yeah, Sirius was mentioned in the beginning of the first book too. He was there. Hagrid said that he borrowed his bike from him. He told McGonagall dumb. So he's been there. I mean, Sirius. I thought that was particularly cool because, like, he's always in the background, or he existed there. He was like one of the first few characters she introduced, and I mean that's next to Dumbledore. Dumbledore was the first character, I guess, or next to McGonagall and stuff. So I think that's all he could have possibly hoped for.
Now, what do you guys think about Sirius's purpose in the books? Do you think that he had a purpose, and if so, what was it, and did he fulfill it? Like, as a character, I mean, the sense of a character.
I think Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, okay. I think he existed because if you realize in the third book, it was mainly devoted to the love of Harry for his family and for his past and for his father and for his father's friends. I think that's a tremendous part of the third book. Obviously not the movie, but the third book had a lot. I mean, with the Marauders and everything, the whole book is really about Harry's friends, Harry's parents' friends, and what they did at Hogwarts. So I think Sirius really existed, especially at the end, to kind of give Harry a sense of family and closure, and the whole going to live with Sirius thing. And it's really a shame that it all goes to hell, because you really get this tremendous sense of what a great guy and what a great father Sirius could be, and the love that he had for James Potter and the one that is passed on now to Harry.
Now, do you think he would have been a good father? Because that I've seen quite a bit of debate about, because of his tendency of
his immaturity,
being reckless.
Well, you're right, and that's. I mean, I think that's.
He seemed like a good friend.
Yeah, right,
but
exactly.
As a father figure, I don't think he was the best.
I know, Kevin, and that's exactly what she then later developed in book 5. With him, treating Harry like James, and that he's not James, and all that stuff with Molly and things. So I think I mean, my favorite thing about Sirius, I would have to say, is that he is flawed, and is that he's he's
Human.
he's human. He's flawed. He's human, and he's tragically misunderstood. Throughout the whole third book, we're going through and thinking that he's this demented murderer, when in fact it's completely the opposite. Well, he
Right.
still is demented, but
Yeah.
I love his
always
loyalty because
That's true, yeah.
I started going through the books and looking at the things, and if you look at his actions, if you don't understand the underlying meanings behind the actions, the reasons that he was doing those things, you can see him as a horrible person. But when you start looking into it, you can interpret almost everything that he did as loyalty.
And love.
And love.
and
So,
yeah, Cristin, even when he admitted to Harry, remember that at first he said, I as good as killed them. He told
Yeah.
Harry, but before he clarified himself, it was like, yes, I killed them, Harry, and Harry was ready to beat him up or whatever. But he was so truthful, and so he felt so guilty over what had happened, and it was just that.
And I think that's one of the flaws in his personality that made him so reckless. He tended to blame himself for things
Right.
and
Yeah.
felt responsible to, address them and to fix them.
But that's the thing. That's what I saw, a parallel between myself, or possibly people in general, and Sirius. Because I think a lot of people do dabble in measures they shouldn't, and have good intentions going in.
well, and if you can look back, and when he went after Wormtail, I kind of looked at that and went, is that just revenge or what's going on here? And I thought, with someone who is as loyal as Sirius, he could have even seen it as something that he had to do for James and Lily, not just for him.
Yeah, that's true, definitely.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Laura, sorry, you can talk to me. I just have one quick
totally
question.
cool.
Do you guys think that the wizarding community has a double jeopardy law? could he kill Pettigrew again and get rid of?
I
away
find
with
it highly doubtful.
But that's kind of stupid.
I find it highly doubtful. Yeah.
It's probably stupid anyway because he needed Pettigrew alive to prove his innocence. But okay, Laura, what were you going to say?
All right. I like what you guys have to say about him. I think you raised several very good points. First, on to Sirius's purpose in the series. I think that he really did fulfill his purpose, which I think was to serve as a driving force for Harry to motivate him to defeat Voldemort, because as you can see in the series, up until the point until Sirius dies, his focus is Voldemort, strictly Voldemort. After Sirius's death, as it wasn't Voldemort that killed Sirius, it was Bellatrix, you see more of a broadened view of Voldemort is not the only evil person here. There are people waiting to step up and take his place, people who would love to stand in his shoes if he were to go away. So I think that Harry sees it is more of a general goal now that he needs to get rid of Voldemort, and he needs to get rid of these followers because they are just as dangerous.
See, I think that's exactly what his purpose was. It was bringing the battle to Harry on a personal level.
Right.
When Harry's parents died, he didn't know his parents. He just knew that his parents died. And although that may seem like it's a very personal thing to someone, if you're an infant and your parents die and you grow up, you really never knew your parents.
You don't know what
If
you're
you knew
missing.
who killed them, you'd be mad at them, but you never truly knew them as people. And the difference was with Sirius was he got to know this man, and then the man was taken from him.
Really.
And it
Yeah.
made that battle with Voldemort that much more personal. You know,
Exactly.
it made it so that it came into focus for him, and he had to say to himself, wow, this is really what my life is, you know?
Exactly. It made him more focused, I think.
Yeah.
Most
I agree with
definitely.
you.
Not only
I think
against
that's definitely.
Voldemort, as you said, but the Death Eaters as well.
Yeah. I think Bellatrix is probably going to be Neville's to take care of, which is cool. I want him
Oh,
to
I'd love
finish
that.
her off.
Yeah.
Or do something
I'd
with her.
love
I want
to watch him finish her off.
I want him
Oh,
to
I hate
confront
her.
Yeah, I want him to confront her, but
I
also,
don't think he'll confront her. I think he's going to kill her.
Well,
to be
I
honest.
don't know. Neville,
I'll
I
be
mean,
rejoicing
we'd like
when
to
that
see
happens.
we'd like to see Neville take her down, but because she's clearly an evil person. But this isn't the Bellatrix cast, so back to Sirius.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
true.
I agree with.
Did
the
you
purpose.
guys have a problem with the way Sirius died? It just was so harsh to me, him just falling through the veil, no closure at all.
But I think that's why she did it, because it wasn't only no
Yeah.
closure for us, it was no closure for Harry. Because in an instant, he was gone.
Exactly.
He had no time for Sirius to be wounded and dying, or Sirius to have last words. He just died.
And
And I think she did that for a purpose,
and it was
to make
complete.
it so that he was torn from Harry and made, Harry realize what was going on.
Something that JKR has always stressed is that she thinks that children are greatly underestimated. And a lot of the time when you see death in something that is considered a children's book, you see people trying to create closure so that they don't disturb children. But I think that she's really trying to put across the fact that life is short. Life can be taken away very easily in the space of a second. And she's trying to put across that kids can take this, kids and adults alike. I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah,
And kids
definitely.
don't get closure. They don't always get to say goodbye, just
Exactly.
like adults.
Most times they don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which is
and I think that she was trying to tune the audience into the harsh sense of reality. It's like,
Well, it's not all a fantasy world. It's not all spells and magic.
no,
Exactly.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it when people say treat Harry as some silly fantasy novel, because it's not. I mean, its allegories and its parallels are tremendous. Corruption in government, and like what you were talking about the whole death and having no time. That's a complete moment of dramatic irony when there's no time for Harry to say goodbye to Sirius, when right next door is the time room with all the time turners. and things.
Exactly.
I mean, how that's a slap in the face.
Definitely.
not to mention that he didn't even know what the veil was. It was sort of like exactly what goes on when a family loses someone close and they have to explain it to the child.
Yeah,
The child
'cause the
doesn't
child, I mean-
understand.
Right.
Harry
And they
had
want
no
them to
clue
come
about the
back.
veil. Exactly. Harry had no idea how the veil worked. All he was told was he's dead.
Yeah, and he's not
He's
coming
gone,
back.
Harry.
And even to this day, we still don't know what the veil is and what its purpose is. And I think that's very important in the series, because I think we're going to find out what its purpose
Yeah,
is.
that
Right.
surprised me in book 6 that he didn't that JKR really didn't focus at all on the Ministry of Magic, actually the place or the Department of Mysteries.
I think she did that purposely, though.
I know, I
Yeah.
think so too, and I agree with
because
you.
it makes it so that there was one thing about that whole scene that was very important, and that was the fact that she mentioned that room that Harry could not get into.
Yeah.
And what happens is if she brought it up in book 6, we all know that something in the Department of Ministry, the Ministry of Magic and stuff, we know something's going to happen there. Something has to happen there.
That's true.
And the fact that she didn't bring attention to it this time shows that she's trying to divert your attention from it so that you don't have any suspicions about it for next book.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I also think, this book is really the reason that I stopped wanting Sirius to come back. I still want him to, but I stopped holding out that hope. Because
Yes,
if he was going to, he would have been
think
mentioned.
he might have. Yeah.
Something would have happened with him.
Definitely. Although she does continue to bring up his name throughout the book as sort of a
Inspiration.
a inspiration for Harry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which was cool, I think. And last week I said about the whole Tonks thing, how I didn't really get it, but just the fact that Harry thought she was upset about Sirius really did bring Sirius up again. So
Right.
that was a purpose. That helped.
Well, the question that I was left at after book 5 finished was, what is going to happen with Sirius, with Luna talking about, hearing the voices and things like that. It really was something that gave me something to hold on to. And with it not being addressed in this book,
I always thought of that as being, when you die, you have the choice to come back in ghost form, like Nearly Headless Nick said, or you have the choice to go on. And I think that was more meant to show that when Harry goes on, he's going to be reunited with these people, but not until it's time.
Well, it also showed that because Sirius didn't come back as a ghost, he had nothing to hold him to the earth. He had nothing, no regrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I could see him potentially staying for Harry, but I think Sirius would look at that and realize that that's not what Harry would need, because when you look at Sirius, you see a lot of erratic behavior, and you see a lot of leaping before he looks, and that it has caused some very serious and damaging effects, as we've seen, because he shouldn't have gone to the Department of Mysteries. However, I think that something as serious as Harry having to fight Voldemort on his own, I think Sirius would realize that he need to go on and be with Harry later.
Yep. I also think that he recognized Harry's maturity.
Exactly.
He knew that Harry acts well above his age, because he's been forced to. Mm-hmm. The events in his life have forced him to
mature quickly,
jump out of, that teenage stage very early and into maturity. Look at what he's facing now.
Oh, God, it's crazy.
But at the same time, I think that the main purpose of Sirius and even Dumbledore was to make it so that Harry had a drive. Yeah. Harry has every purpose in the world and every reason in the world to kill Voldemort. Every reason. And I think it just makes it so that it's, when he gets there, he's going to be faced with a choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't see Harry killing Voldemort flat out, like in cold blood. Even if Voldemort was defenseless, I doubt he would.
I think it's going to be more personal than that. I really do.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, with what Luna said after finally reading this book, what I kind of thought was she started talking about, she always loses things, but they always come back. And I think Sirius really did come back in this book that way. Harry still had him. He hadn't lost him.
And you know what's cool? Sirius is, Sirius put Harry in his will and, gave him Grimmauld Place and Creature and stuff, Creature to an extent, I guess, is arguable whether or not he helped Harry in Book 6, but I think it's very mature for Sirius to have done that, because if he had prepared a will, he kind of figured that the end might be near for him, and when Sirius was sitting, rotting in Grimmauld Place, bitter about everything, bitter about life, bitter about not being able to be with Harry, I think he finally realized that, Harry would have to go it alone, and he would have to. So Sirius kind of took a responsibility role and thought things ahead and really prepared. Harry, he prepared to give Harry Grimmauld Place and Creature and all that stuff. Yeah. I think it's really kind of redeeming quality, because yes, he does act before he thinks, but this clearly was something that he planned ahead and was very good about.
Now, were you surprised by the lack of personal letter or something left behind by Sirius to talk to Harry?
No,
you know what I mean?
The two-way mirror that ticked me off. Harry just smashed it, didn't he?
Oh yes.
Yeah, but that ticked a lot of people off.
I was so mad.
It should have ticked a lot of people off. There's that's more irony. That's more like the answer was right there, and Harry didn't use it, and Harry didn't think about it. It was like,
no, I slammed
imagine how
that book
mad
shut. I was so mad.
Imagine how mad Harry had to be. People get angry whenever they don't understand things like death. That's one of the things that that people do is they'll get angry at, the universe for whatever happened because they don't understand it. And I think that's what Harry was doing.
And it was a way of forcing Harry to see that everything isn't perfect and he doesn't think about everything. He can't always be the person who saves the day. There's some times when he is forced to accept reality and realize that he can't do everything.
Yeah, he can't save everyone.
Exactly.
Even though he was ticked off.
And I think that mirror was representing
ticked off with
that.
the world. I think he was ticked off with the world long before he discovered that death wasn't happy. But,
It's true.
But, yeah. So, the purpose of... I like it. I agree with you that the purpose of Sirius going back to that was, was to empower Harry. I think that's more the purpose of his death. As I was trying to say earlier, he does also serve as a connection to Harry's past, which did not previously exist. And I mean, it's important, I think, to mention Lupin as well right here, because Sirius and Lupin really did bring the perspective thing to Harry. And in Book 5, after the Snape pensive scene, he confronts Harry and Lupin about his father, and they say, yes, Harry, he did make mistakes. He was an arrogant person. And so he's able to converse with them and find out all this stuff about his past through Sirius and Lupin. And I think that's important, because he was really worried about his father there. And I think Lupin still being alive for now is going to be, I think, is going to help him with more stuff about his past in the future.
Okay, so do you think that covers every aspect of Sirius we can think about?
No, we should talk about more, I think.
Actually, I did have a question for you guys.
Sure.
We've seen several death clues, especially throughout Book 5, that Sirius was going to die, but I think that there was more to it than that. I think that JKR was beginning to show us that Sirius was going to die from the end of Book 3. I really think that his erratic behavior, examples being Harry not wanting to tell him that he had been entered into the Triwizard Tournament because he knew that Sirius came back to England over his scar, and I believe the exact quote was, "He'll come bursting through the doors of the Great Hall if he finds out about this." Do you think that it's been there, we haven't really seen it, but it's been there, that Sirius was going to do something that would end up resulting in his death because he wasn't thinking clearly or thinking far enough ahead?
Well, I think yes and no. Because of Dumbledore's death, we've seen that Sirius, yes, his erratic behavior did get him killed, arguably, but Dumbledore is the one person who thinks everything out and can get away out of everything, and even he died.
Right.
I mean, so I don't think it's like, I mean, in a way, yes, Sirius was arguably, again, bound to die because of his erratic behavior and bound to get into trouble, but Dumbledore also died, and that's really a shame.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like no one is safe,
that.
whether you're organized or unorganized or...
whatever skills you have.
Right.
No one is safe. What about the Animagi and the whole history of that whole thing at Hogwarts? Like, the Marauders as children and Sirius, what...
I was very surprised that Harry didn't investigate that more in Book 6.
Yeah.
I was very, very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would think that, Harry really looked up to Sirius, and I think that he would learn that skill and how to morph like that just to mirror his mentor, his fallen mentor. And I was very, very surprised that he didn't.
I would at least
Sort
think
of
that he'd want to
disappointing.
research it. Maybe not
Yeah.
necessarily pursue it, but definitely look into it a little bit.
Well, one of
He
the
might.
trend things with the deaths in the Harry Potter books, the trend I noticed between Sirius's death and Dumbledore's death was that in Book 5 we really got to know Sirius even more than we had before. I mean, we did have him a lot more in Goblet of Fire than he will be in the movie, unfortunately, but they have to make cuts. It's understandable. But we found out all about his family and all about the whole noble ancient House of Black, the whole family tree, which was important pureblood information for the future. And we got to spend time with Sirius. We got to understand that he wasn't really happy where he was alive, and we found out all the stuff about him, and then he died. She took him away from us. Now, similarly, with Dumbledore in Book 6, we had the meetings, between Harry and Dumbledore, where Dumbledore kind of set Harry up for the stuff he'd need to know in the future about purebloods and Voldemort, and then she took him away from us. And so I think it's an interesting kind of pattern.
Did
you guys notice that?
I think again that Dumbledore served his purpose, and however sad it is to say it, we don't need him anymore.
I still maintain that he's going to be at least. He must have left at least some clue for Harry to teach himself. Yeah. The whole thing that's bothering me about the whole Dumbledore situation is that he left Harry without a trace, and I think that there must be something, just like I think in Sirius's case, I think that there's more to the death of the character than just their death. I think that maybe each of them left something behind for Harry.
Right.
And I believe that they'll serve their purpose in Book 7 in leading Harry on the right track.
And I like that. I like it because it also says what JKR has, I think, tried to say, which was that even in death, people are still useful and people can still help. And, even the memory alone of people can help serve things.
Right.
One other thing, if everybody's done and does before we move on. Sirius said he grew up practically under the Potter's roof, under James's roof, always hanging out with James and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have any thoughts on that, comments?
Kind of like Harry and Ron.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was it's definitely the idea of if you have an unsuitable family, that you can find shelter in someone else's family.
Well, I think it was also a attempt by J.K. Rowling to mirror Harry with Sirius.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was making a connection because Sirius always was over the Potter's house, but Harry is over the Weasley's house.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a low-level connection to the two characters.
Yeah, the Potters basically adopted Sirius the same way the Weasleys have adopted Harry.
Exactly. Yeah. Because of circumstance.
And not only that, but if you look at Sirius with his background, he would have been welcomed into Slytherin, into those circles. I mean, I know not all Slytherins are bad, but the ones that were, he would have been welcomed into that, just like Harry was welcomed by Draco. And they both made decisions that wasn't who they were.
And I think that's one of the best things about him. That's why everybody, actually ended up believing that he was truly a Voldemort supporter in the end. At least the people who knew that it was Sirius Black who, well, everybody knew, I guess, that he attacked Peter Pettigrew. But what I'm saying is I think that's what made it easier to believe for some people that he could have been working for Voldemort, because he was, a harsh person. He was sporadic. He was,
reckless.
In Prisoner of Azkaban, the movie, he said that once or twice they thought of making the Padfoot transformation permanent. He's a dog. He's a scavenger. He's got that personality for bad stuff. He just chooses not to use it.
Well, and see, dogs remind me of loyalty anyway.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Man's
the one
best
quality
friend.
you really think of when you think of a dog, is loyalty?
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
I've got an interesting parallel that I want to know what y'all think. With Sirius and Snape. Most people who like one don't like the other one that much, which is understandable because they didn't like each other.
I love both
But-
of them.
Well, I
sorry,
said
who?
most people, not all people.
Wait, who?
Sirius and Snape.
Oh, I like both. I really do like both. I think it's very important because they are both. I see them similar, and even though they're enemies, I think Snape does care about Harry in a way. As much as he detests him, both of them, when they were going at it about Sirius is about Harry's occlumency lessons and all this stuff. Even though they hate each other, I think there's completely like I don't know. It's like the hate-love thing. Like, they hate each other as much as they depend on each other. Because Sirius had to depend on Dumbledore and Snape to teach Harry correctly and instruct him and help him out at Hogwarts, because Sirius had to stay behind at Grimmauld Place. I mean, I think it's one of those situations.
Yeah. So, what my thing is that, everyone thought that Sirius was a spy. Just like now, everyone thinks that Snape is a spy. And the ones who trusted Sirius, they were the ones who were murdered, and it appeared that Sirius murdered them, just like with Snape, the one who trusted him, Dumbledore, who convinced everyone else to trust him, was killed, and, Snape was the one who did it, so.
That is interesting.
And then they both seemed to run away.
And honestly...
Yeah, but I still think that there's something behind Snape that we haven't seen before.
Same.
I can see. I'm not saying that, I mean, even this is another clue that Snape doesn't necessarily have to be evil. I mean,
well,
because like Sirius, everyone thought that he was, but he wasn't.
I know what you mean. One of the I guess since we're talking about Grimmauld Place, I can sneak this in. I know it's not Snapecast. I apologize, but the book 5 was another book where, I mean, I said book 6 was it, but book 5 also, we don't get a lot of Snape at all. I mean, I suppose there was a little bit more in book 5 because book 5 is a longer book, but between book 5 and 6, we don't really know at all yet, even now in book 6 or in book 5, what Snape is doing. And I think that just draws more suspicion, or it gives us less to use as conviction for him being evil.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially at the end when he was still teaching him not to say spells out loud.
And so
that struck me as really odd.
And so he really comes across as a Sirius type character for Snape. I mean, because even though he detests him, he can still teach him and still tell him what he needs to do.
Yeah, but you sort of have to remember that with the lack of Sirius, I think that some of the hatred went away from Snape, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sirius died. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like, why continue hating someone even when they're dead? Because they're dead.
Exactly.
Exactly. And even when
and he's
hated,
not still calling him names.
Exactly.
He's not calling him Snively all the time,
Right.
That's a plus. So, yeah, I mean, James and Sirius, who, if you realize, in book 3, McGonagall called them, the ragtag duo. They would give the Weasley twins a run for their money, Sirius and James. And I think those two, I guess they were the highest in power. I'm sure Lupin was in there, but I think Snape was probably picked on most by James, and secondly by Sirius. He's not afraid to call him Snivellus. So with James dead, thanks to Snape in a way, and with Sirius dead, thanks to Snape's inability to properly teach Harry occlumency, which is actually Harry's fault. But with the two lead contenders dead, I don't think Snape has much to go on to hate Harry anymore. He can't blame him for hanging around with Sirius because Sirius is dead. And
he has to look at him for himself, not for who his parents were and his godfather.
I'm sorry, does anybody get the parallel of the Beatles when they think of the Marauders? Maybe it's just me, but I'm thinking John and Paul, right? And then you got Ringo, who's Pettigrew, right? Because
okay.
And George Harrison is Lupin. Lupin is George. Oh. You ever get that? Anybody ever think that?
I can honestly say I've never thought that before.
Yeah, me neither, but that is
interesting.
Yeah.
Just think of it, because one's
I will
thoughtful
never
and one's...
think of the Marauders the same when I listen to Yellow Submarine from now on.
Okay. Hey, Harry.
Okay. So, well, if we've covered all the topics on Sirius.
But you got it, guys,
okay,
guys, Kevin. Avada, Kavada, life stops here, woo! Life stops here.
Okay. So, on to voicemails. We only have a couple voicemails this time because we don't want to make this show too long.
Hey MuggleCast, this is Angelica from Toronto, Canada. Okay, here's my question. But first, I'm fluent in French, and I cringed every time the mispronunciation of Beauxbatons was used. So no more Beau Baxtons, Andrew. Anyways, if Voldemort didn't know that Lucius had released the diary in Hogwarts and didn't know that it was destroyed, wouldn't it mean that if the memory had survived, there would be 2 Voldies? Just wanted to hear your thoughts. Bye.
I do want to mention that this question has already been answered on J.K. Rowling's own site. But if you read her response, she sort of dodged the answer. She said, and I quote, "I can't answer that fully until all 7 books are finished, but it would have strengthened the present-day Voldemort considerably." Now, knowing J.K. Rowling's own response, what do you guys think would have happened if the diary had survived?
Great question. First of all, I just want to announce right now I'm going to make a remix of Andrew going Bo Baxtons. It's going to be 3 minutes of him saying Bo Baxtons to like a really catchy beat. I'm going to work on that, get that out in a week or so. But anyway, to the question, I think it's very interesting, and I think it's all about the power of the Horcruxes. Horcrux power. It's, can a seventh of one's soul manifest itself into a full being? And the answer, I guess, is it's looking like yes, because the diary was taking its power from Ginny, and Tom could become a separate person, and that's scary, because if a Horcrux can stand on itself and drain power from other people, if Harry is a Horcrux, can it drain on him? And if other things like that. So.
Well, I also think that the diary, because it's not a full part of Voldemort's soul, it would be somewhat, if it's sort of twisted saying it, but it would be somewhat more corrupt than Voldemort. Reason being is that, as we found out, we didn't know when it was happening, but as we found out, the Horcrux is a part of the soul that is fragmented when you murder someone. How good or what, material can be in that soul that would, there's no good figment of that soul in any way. It is a part of the soul that was fragmented because you murdered someone. The ultimate act of hate. So I think that on a certain level, it would be worse than Voldemort, because it would be even more corrupt because of its, origin.
Well, Kevin, just before you get hate mail, I have to say that for the women out there, for the women fans, I have to say that I guess the only good thing that did come out of the twisted, more corrupt Horcrux was Cristin Coulson. That's my understanding of the fandom. Okay, girls, take it away. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I really never understood that appeal. Anyway, I think.
Yay!
I think that I totally agree with what you guys said, and all I really have to add to that topic is if the diary had survived, Harry would be screwed. Yeah. Definitely.
Most definitely. Especially since then you'd have to kill 2 full-strength Voldemorts.
Yeah.
In order to kill.
Yeah.
But you couldn't kill one without the other.
Well, you know what?
I think it's more of a paradox
What's
situation. Because if one
Actually, at that time.
What?
At that time, Voldemort wasn't in power. He wasn't in power for another 2 years, which is
yeah, but think about if he had separated. I mean, it's almost like a paradox situation, because now you have a full-strength Voldemort and another full-strength Voldemort, both relying on Horcruxes to stay alive, but each of them is considered a Horcrux to the other.
Yeah.
It's almost like this paradoxical situation that J.K. Rowling was wise to avoid and just kill him off.
Yeah.
Well, and if you think about that, then what about the other Horcruxes?
Rhodes?
Yeah, but the other Horcruxes weren't full strength. They didn't have substance. They're not a person. They're not a true soul.
Right, but could they?
Right. I think it's possible, but I don't think he.
It's probable.
I don't think he made any other Horcrux with the intention that it would create itself.
That it would be able to
stand
act
for him,
independently.
kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He made that one specifically,
right,
and
like
I think that we're still not sure if he knows that the diary has been destroyed. And I would gather that he doesn't because I believe he was saving that for a special situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that was like his book of last return. You know, like if all else fails, I still have this book that has the potential of keeping me alive.
Right.
You know.
And could it have restored him too?
Well, it wouldn't restore him, so to say, but I think it would restore.
It's a backup copy.
Exactly. He was
backup.
That was his last will and testament. You know, that was him saying, "You may have killed me, but just wait."
The sequel.
But to be honest, I think that he's going to be just a little angry at, you know, who put the diary in Lucius. He's going to be a little angry at Lucius when he finds out that the diary is destroyed.
Just a
bit.
Yeah.
I don't think
Wasn't
Lucius
bad.
will be sticking around for much longer after he tells him that.
Well, he
But
went and
I don't think
he gave Draco the suicide mission just because Lucius put the book in Hogwarts and got rid of it. So
that's true.
you know.
Yeah. It's possible.
Hi, this is Brianne from Arizona. I love your guys' show. My question is about Snape. Do you think the reason why Snape showed so much remorse after Lily and James's death was because he had feelings for Lily? And also, do you think that's why Lord Voldemort offered Lily a chance to live? Because that's not really what Lord Voldemort would do. I'd love to hear your guys' input about that. Love your show. Bye.
I think that it would explain a lot if he did, but I can't necessarily see him, you know, telling Voldemort to give her, you know, a chance to get away. So I think really, you know, Voldemort didn't have any use for her. Otherwise, it wouldn't have mattered if Snape had feelings or not.
Well,
she would have been dead.
Well, I think that he definitely has feelings for her. I really think that's a very, very, very distinct possibility. But I also think that maybe it was one of the one times that Voldemort was actually acting on he was actually picking up, as a leader, I think he was picking up the sense of one of his followers, and he knew that if he had ordered Lily's death without you know, it's a way out, that some of the followers would be a little upset. Also, I think that Voldemort saw value in Lily, because we've known that, and it's been said that she was a very talented witch. And I think that it wasn't only for Snape, but it was for his own good. He was thinking, oh, what's a better chance to get, you know, someone on our side?
No, but she was a mudblood, which is what you have
Yeah,
to... She was a mudblood. I mean, she was dirt to him, no matter what. Like,
yeah,
even...
but I think that even Voldemort would see the value in someone talented. She may have been a mudblood, but at the same time, she has been said to have a lot of talent.
And also...
Yes, but this is a man who hates all mankind. This is a man who absolutely despises anything that's not pure blood or more. And I like the idea that he would spare Lily because he thought she was talented, but I just don't think it's in his personality at all. Well, I mean, he hates everyone.
It's definitely a possibility, and the real reason that I could see him sparing her because of her talent is because, yes, he does despise Muggleborns. However, he loves talent, and he loves taking advantage of talent when he comes by it.
That's Slughorn. That's Slughorn. That's not...
Yeah, but why not take advantage of the talent and then dispose of her?
Because he had no reason
then why kill
to.
James?
I mean, I think if
Why
he had a
kill
reason
James?
to kill
I think
her...
James was talented.
But maybe he had a specific purpose in mind.
Right, for
my
James.
Thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
And I also think that it is very possible that Snape had feelings for Lily. I think that he probably spent a lot of time calling her mudblood to cover it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that Lily identified that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lily was a very, very astute person. You know, she was able to pick up the subtleties in people, and I think that she realized that he was doing that because he was trying to separate himself from her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think Snape would tell tell Voldemort. That's my point.
Yeah, I think he would.
I think Snape definitely liked Lily, but personally, I don't think Voldemort would do that for someone anyway. Like, I don't think he'd spare someone just because one of his followers told her to. A, he doesn't care what his followers think to most of the extent, and also B, these are the parents of the kid who's going to overturn him.
Right.
And Voldemort saw that as an incredible threat. So, I don't even know why he hesitated to kill Lily, because these were the parents of the kid who was going to overturn him.
Well,
these
might have
are
been
the
lying.
parents of the chosen one. These are the
Yeah, he could have. That's a
could have been
distinct
lying.
possibility. I mean,
So I really don't.
he was about to kill her son.
And
I mean,
the thing is,
maybe he said it mockingly. Maybe he said it because he knew that she wouldn't.
Mhm.
Just so that
Yes,
she would
and
know
decide
when
he's-
she died that she had the opportunity to get out of it and she didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
It
also
seems like the evil act that he would do.
I also think that we know that Voldemort doesn't understand the concept of love, and I think that if he were lying to Lily, he would say, "Oh, get out of the way, I'll let you live," because he can't understand how a mother can love her son, how a mother
Yeah.
can love her
which
child.
which was his downfall.
Exactly. So
Is his downfall.
he
Because
might have
his
been
mother
trying,
never loved him.
He might have been trying to use that to his advantage, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
One other thing, closing. Another thing about Snape. Dumbledore not caring about his followers. If Snape could make Voldemort care about his own personal, love for Lily or something, that's very scary, because it shows that Voldemort and Snape have possibly an even stronger connection than Snape and Dumbledore, which scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can convince Voldemort to spare the life of a mudblood, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially the mudblood mother of the person of the chosen one. That's power, and Snape has got it.
So, we're going to call that the night. So, just for all the listeners out there, if you've noticed the lack of Andrew, it's because he had to go on urgent business, as he says. So,
Yeah, and we kind of he just disappeared like he
yeah,
did last
we
week.
missed you, Andrew, but don't worry.
Yeah.
He'll be back next episode. So, thank you for being on our show, Cristin.
Yeah, thanks for
Cristin,
coming.
you've been a
You
wonderful
were great.
It was excellent.
contribution.
Thank you.
And I think that wraps up this week's episode. Again,
Well, Cristin, is
Oh.
there any shout-outs you'd like to give to anybody? Since you're the contest winner
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
that's
show,
true.
you kind of earn shout-outs,
I'd like to say hi to everybody at Hoffman Lane Elementary School and all of my family, and I'd like to say thanks to my cousin Josh for getting me hooked on Harry Potter in the first place.
I think that wraps up this week's edition. So again, I'm Kevin Steck.
I'm Eric Skull.
I'm Laura Thompson.
And I'm Cristin Atkins.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
See you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hi, I want to give a shout out to all the Muggle boys and saying that you're really cute and I like your voices and you make my day better than any other. Thanks.
Hey guys, it's Meredith and I'm listening to you from Covington, Kentucky. I love your show. You do an awesome job. Jamie, I'm loving the jokes, so keep 'em coming. I crack up every time. I listen to you guys while I lift weights in the gym and during biology when my teacher gets boring. I'm also a volleyball player, so I listen to you guys before games to get ready. I found that when I listen to episode 5, I do especially well, but any episode will work. So if anyone's looking for a good luck charm, that's definitely one you should think about. I thought I'd plug my site too while I'm on here. It's a roleplay that hopefully is going to be starting term soon. s4.envisionfree.com /Hogwarts_RP_site. We still need teachers, canon, and fanon characters if anyone's interested. So anyway, keep up the good work, and I look forward to next week's episode. I listen to you guys religiously.
Hey, MuggleCast, it's Donnie McGowan. Yep, I've been listening to the show since the first episode. Gotta say it's great. Keep up the good work. And while you're at it, check out my film coming out November 23rd, Konak, at www.konak.tk. Alright, thanks. Bye.
If you'd like to comment on this week's past show, then please send your voice comment to voice@staff.mugglenet.com. Please keep your message under 30 seconds. Thank you. So, oh my god. So,
Oh my god,
I'm
Andrew!
sorry, this is such a mess. It is gonna look.
Don't you have silent?
It is gonna be this. The edited version will be much better, Cristin. This is how they always go.
No, they aren't this bad. They haven't
I
been this
seriously
bad
think
since
you
my
ought to put one of
Audacity
these
screwed
up there because people just crack up.
Okay, finally, somebody responded. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah. All right. Phone call. Yes. I am fine. Yay!
Alright, Andrew. You know what? I don't feel like doing the news this week. I just don't feel like doing it. And guess what? You're just gonna have to accept that. Back to you guys.
One that is gonna make people want to dance. MuggleCast. A hot remix. MuggleCast. The mysterious and strange. MuggleCast. There is not one podcast ahead of us. MuggleCast. A hot remix. One that is going to make people want to dance. A podcast exclusive.
It is a podcast exclusive.
What did you say? MuggleCast. One that is going to make people want to dance.
It is Harry Potter.
A hot remix. MuggleCast. There is not one podcast ahead of us. MuggleCast. A hot remix. One that is going to make people want to dance. This is MuggleCast.
Want to start saving money and energy at home? Eversource, proud sponsor of Energize Connecticut, is here to help with our in-home energy service. For just $50, our certified technicians will give you a unique home energy score and conduct on-the-spot services. Plus, you'll get rebates and incentives on efficiency upgrades, like improved insulation to stay comfortable and save money all year round. So don't wait. Go to eversource.com to get started today. Paid for by a charge on customer energy bills.